Hello and welcome. It seems to be a fundamental part of being human, doesn't it? That constant search for something more. Today we're going to dive into a really fascinating philosophical framework that tries to explain this perpetual quest. And it also proposes a path toward what you might call true fulfillment, one that comes from inner transformation.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into what's called the human predicament. Then we'll talk about this endless seeking that we all seem to be caught in. After that, we'll look at the physical limitation of it all. Next up is the idea of the technology of yoga, which might not be what you think. And finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate choice, becoming the creator of your destiny.
All right, let's get right into it with our first section, the human predicament. The core idea here is that fundamentally, human beings exist in a state of, dissatisfaction. We're going to explore what it is that truly separates our experience from that of every other creature on this planet.
So this really is the central question, isn't it? Why is it that we, human beings, seem to be in this perpetual state of seeking, while other creatures just aren't? This constant forward-moving search is what really truly distinguishes us from pretty much every other form of life. And here's where we see a really fundamental difference. Think about it. For an animal, life's goal is basically survival. Once its stomach is full and it's safe, it's fulfilled. It's done. But for a human, that's just the starting line. For us, life really begins after survival is taken care of. That's when the real quest for fulfillment kicks in. We're just left unprogrammed by nature.
And this is such a crucial point. This freedom, this state of being unprogrammed, can be this incredible, tremendous possibility, but it can also be a curse. And the only thing that decides which one it is our own awareness. Without that awareness to handle this freedom, the liberty itself becomes the very source of our suffering.
Okay, so that naturally leads us into our next section, an endless seeking. If we're so unprogrammed and we're always looking for something, what exactly is the nature of this longing? What is it that we're all really truly searching for?
Well, according to this philosophy, what we're seeking isn't really more money or more power or more stuff. Those are just vehicles. The real seeking is for expansion. There's something deep within us that is constantly longing to be boundless, something that just can't stand limitations.
And you've probably seen this play out in your own life. It's this endless cycle, right? You desire something, you work for it, you get it, and for a little while, you feel fulfilled. But then, it always comes back. A new, bigger desire emerges. The cycle just keeps repeating, because no matter what we get, it's never quite enough to satisfy that fundamental impulse to expand.
So this brings us to a huge central conflict in the human experience, which we'll call the physical limitation. We have this boundless, non-physical longing, but we keep trying to satisfy it through physical, finite things. And, you can probably see the problem there.
Think about how we experience the world. It's all through these 5 gateways, right? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. These are the only tools we usually use to engage with reality. But here's the catch. They can only perceive what is physical.
And that's the core conflict right there. We have this deep longing for something unlimited, something non-physical, but we're trying to satisfy it by collecting physical things, experiences, possessions, even relationships, all through these 5 limited senses. It's like we're using a limited tool for an unlimited job. It just doesn't work.
This analogy really captures it perfectly. It's like you want to go to the moon, but you're trying to get there on horseback. The goal, boundless expansion, is the moon, but the vehicle we're using, our physical senses, is the horse. It's just the wrong tool for the job. You need a completely different, much more capable vehicle to even begin that journey.
So, what's the solution then? If our external senses aren't up to the task, what's the alternative? This brings us to the next section, a proposed method called the technology of yoga, which is all about learning how to turn our perception inward.
Now, when we say yoga here, we're not just talking about bending and stretching. In this philosophical context, yoga is presented as a very precise science, a technology. The whole point of it is to allow the human system to function at its absolute peak, and to use that as a stepping stone to go beyond the limitations of the physical world, beyond what our 5 senses can tell us.
And there's another really important distinction made here. This kind of technology isn't something you can just read in a book. It's not just a bundle of information. It has to be transmitted as a live process. The analogy used is that an instruction is like a thread, a sutra, but a transmission, that's like a full garland, where a living teacher strings the flowers of experience onto that thread.
The thread alone is lifeless. It's the flowers that give it life and fragrance.
Okay, so this ability to turn perception inward, to access these other dimensions, it's said to lead to a truly fundamental choice. And it's not just a choice about what to do, but a choice about your entire relationship with life and with the very process of creation. This brings us to our final section, becoming the creator of your destiny.
Think about this for a second. The food you eat becomes you. A piece of bread becomes a complex human being. That means the manufacturer, the intelligence that can create life itself, isn't somewhere out there in the cosmos. The very source of creation is active and functioning from within you, right now.
And because of that, we're left with this ultimate choice. We can either live as just a piece of creation, being pushed and pulled around by life's forces, just reacting to whatever happens, or we can gain access to that inner source, that creator within. And if we do that, we can shift from being a piece of creation to being the creator of our own lives, consciously molding our destiny.
So that's the final question this whole framework leaves us with. And it's a big one. Are you being created by life, or are you the one creating it? Are you just a product of your circumstances, a collection of things that have happened to you? Or is it possible to access that deeper dimension inside and become the conscious author of your own experience? It's really something to think about.